a good friend of mine was teaching, and she said, you can't change your history, but you can change your legacy. All three of us would be the first to tell you, as Matt referred to, there are things we're not proud of, there's things we would love to have done differently, and we've been all in our own way been very transparent about all those things. And I think you realize I can't change my history, I can't change the past, but I can definitely change the legacy that I'm going to leave.
Welcome to the Age of Lions podcast, a platform and community dedicated to bringing purpose, strategy, and calling to kingdom-minded people who are 50 plus and excited about their next chapter. Here's your host, Mark Clement.
Well, hey, everybody, welcome to the Age of Lions podcast, episode number 2. That was my brother, Michael John, giving us some wisdom about some things he's learned as he's been aging. Today, we're going to interview him and my brother, Matt, and we're going to have a great time talking as brothers. You know, we've obviously had a whole lifetime together, and we've gone through all the different seasons of life together. And so this is kind of a fun episode where we talk about things we're learning, funny things about aging, funny things about things we see around us as people are getting older. And it's kind of a lighthearted episode, but also there's some really good wisdom, some nuggets in there that are going to be dropped as the guys are sharing some things that they're thinking about. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Let's dive in and get into it with the Clement brothers. Well, hey, everybody, like I was telling you, I wanted to invite my brothers on here. And in the yellow shirt is Michael John, my youngest brother, who just turned 50, just joining the club. And then Matt is the one in the blue shirt and the headphones. And Matt, what are you, 54, 53?
Hey,
52?
don't push it, 52.
And I just turned 56. And by the way, I keep telling people I'm 57, and Jenda's like, no, you're 56. I don't know.
That's how old I am. I don't even know how old I am.
Yeah. So, but anyway, I thought it'd be fun to have them on, and we're super close. They're my two best friends, and we have a lot in common. We're all musicians. We've all been in ministry. We've all been entrepreneurs, and kind of on the journey together. You know, we're talking about aging with purpose, aging intentionally, trying to live your best life as you get older. When did you guys start to feel like you were older, or when did you start to think of yourself as older? When was that transition for you?
Matt, since you are older, I'll let you go first.
Oh, it's easy. The day I turned 40. The day I turned
really?
40, like, it was like the switch. I woke up, you know that feeling like you're waking up and, you know, your eye, you just got to get adjusted and everything's a little blurry and you got to adjust. Well, I noticed like that blurriness wasn't going away. And like, I was trying to read something on my phone. I'm like, what the heck is happening? And so sure enough, man, like I started to have to wear reading glasses. It was literally the day I turned 40.
You know,
And,
I remember that because you always had such good eyesight.
Yeah. I mean,
and my
like,
eyesight was always terrible.
vision.
Even as a kid, mine was terrible,
Yeah.
but you always had like 20/20 or maybe 20/10. Like you had crazy good eyesight.
Freaked me out.
And I remember us talking about that, and you said, on my birthday, on the day, it was over. Yeah.
And you told me, this is funny because I tell this story a lot when I have to put on my readers now. I probably should have them on right now. But you said, hey, the day you turn 40, it's all, you know, there goes your eyes, blah, blah, blah. So I hit 40 and I was fine. And I'm like, hey, I made it, you know, 41 at 5, 42. Well, anyway, I'll never forget during COVID, well, let me back up. Every night, you know, checking my email or setting my alarm, whatever, my phone looked blurry to me. And I was like, I'm just tired, you know, wipe my eyes, the whole deal. I didn't realize it. I was pulling the phone a little further away from me and all that. And
you're like, this trombone practice really comes in handy here.
Well, anyway, so we're at my in-laws' house, and they've got readers everywhere, all throughout. I mean, just every nightstand, every end table on the couches or whatever. And I was trying to during COVID, I was trying to read something on my phone, and I'm like, I just reach over and I pick up, I put them on, and I'm like, shebang! And I thought, I was like, I can see, and then I'm like, it hit me. And I think so. I guess 2020 COVID. So I guess I was 46, so I made it to 46. But I have to wear readers.
That's pretty
They're
good.
getting worse by the day. I mean, every day I'm like,
Contacts, man. Contacts.
Yeah,
It took me
mine are,
probably about 6 years and Ray finally talked me into just go to and it was again on my birthday. She's like, I made an appointment. You're going to see the eye doctor, get contacts. So I kept losing them, and I had like glasses everywhere, and it was the best thing. I was like, oh yeah, I don't have to carry my glasses around anymore. So
Yeah. And I'm like you, Michael, like you're like Lynn and Debbie. I have glasses in my car. I've got them in the bedside table.
Well, I do. I do too now. Sure. I do too.
Yeah.
I would say, when I turned 40, it didn't feel, in my mind, I always say I feel like I'm 27. And as I've gotten older, I say 35.
Yeah.
But, back issues, just being sore after working hard one day, whether it's yard work or whatever. And it's like, why am I sore? I didn't do anything yesterday. Oh, well, I did do a little something, but
I woke up.
I shouldn't be.
I got out of bed.
Yeah, I shouldn't be sore. Kind of, plantar fasciitis in my foot. Where the heck did that come from? Like I get up, can't stretch the foot enough, it hurts, and you gotta like get going. I guess I would say that right there. I don't know the particular age, but I would say probably in the last 10 years. That feeling when you get up out of bed and you're like, I need about 20 minutes just to get moving. Like
Just
get
to
my
get
hips
to
moving, get my back loosened up, and it's like, give me 20 minutes and I'm ready to go. Golly, man, that waking up and just feeling like you got hit by a truck when you didn't do anything the day before, it's like, that's stupid.
Y'all sound like you're falling apart.
Yeah.
For me, I think it was, I always tell people like my birthdays they've never really triggered me like, oh gosh, I hit a milestone. My oldest son, as you guys know, is exactly 20 years younger than me. He was born and I turned 20 the next week to the day. And so it's his birthdays that make me go like, holy cow. So like when I turned 40, he was turning 20. That one wasn't as bad. But when he turned 30, which was 50 for me, it was just kind of a little bit of a check of like, wow, this is crazy. Like, how do I have a 30-year-old son? I'm 30. I'm like you. Like I think of myself as like mid 30s. I still feel pretty good, like all that. And that's what kind of gets me. And then the other thing that happens, it actually happened to me just this past Sunday. I was singing on the worship team at church, and I'm by far the oldest person, involved, probably by 20 plus years. And one of the leaders, and she's the sweet girl lady. She's a woman, but they're all girls to me. She's probably 28 or 30. And she was telling us where to stand on who's going to be where on the stage. And she called me Mr. Mark. Just went. And I texted Jen, my wife. I texted her. And I said, I forget how they see me sometimes. I don't know how old they think I am. And people, the good thing for me is at least they always tell me, like when I find out I have a son who's now 36 and I'm 56, they're like, you have a 36-year-old. So that makes me feel like I'm not as old as I could be. What would y'all say is the hardest part about getting older? Is it all the aches and pains, or is it something else? Because y'all apparently have a lot of aches and pains.
I think just mentally, and I don't think about it much, but I think mentally, every once in a while when you realize I have fewer days left than I've lived so far.
Mm-hmm.
And even though I don't wake up thinking about the more mortality, is that the word, of the end.
It's one of them.
Of course, as believers, we have the hope of having eternal life. So I'm not worried about that. But at the same time, there's I want to make sure I walk my daughter down the aisle when it's time to get married. I want to play with my grandkids. I want to see them get married. You start thinking about those things, and I don't know if it's hard, but it definitely stops you in your tracks a little bit to the reality of it,
Yeah. Yeah, I get that.
I'd say time. Honestly, ever since mom and dad passed, I won't say I'm obsessed about it, but I give a lot of thought to time, legacy, that kind of thing, especially with the kids, because, they left us such a great legacy to model and carry on. I mean, I'm constantly thinking about the time left, because they both died relatively young, and trying to make sure I don't fall into that category, but also just what am I going to do with this time? And especially now that all the kids are adults, it's just constant. It's a constant reminder, and in some ways good because we had such great parents in the legacies they left. In other ways, it's extremely challenging. It's extremely to live up to that, to want to do the same for our kids. And so that's probably the toughest thing. I mean, I can get past the aches and pains and I can get past all the other stuff, but like I am constantly thinking about, the legacy I leave behind and what is that going to look like? Did I do enough? Did I make sure they understood, the good things in life, as well as all my mistakes, because I've been very transparent with them about my history. And so, just what am I going to leave them? And so I really do probably, I don't know if it's unhealthy, but I just think about it a lot because it's super important to me. Cause I know it's only temporary. And now that I'm kind of in the second half or third, maybe the end of the third quarter, heading towards the fourth quarter.
So we start walking around like this.
Right. That's right. So anyway, it is probably I don't know if it's the toughest part. It's probably what consumes my thinking being older now. Cause it was definitely not something I was thinking in my 20s and 30s or really even in my 40s, but there was something about the 50 when I passed 50, I'm like, okay. I'm about to hold the four fingers up to signal we're heading into the last stretch. So anyway.
Yeah, I think 50, I mean, everybody's different, but I think 50 is a big number for a lot of people. I'm the same way. That's when I first really started to think, okay, I don't feel old. I don't think I act old. I don't have an old mindset, but I am 50. I mean, it's a juxtaposition between how you feel or think versus what the reality is and what the mirror tells you. And I'm like you, like I think about that a lot. It's one of the reasons why I wanted to start this. I thought, this is a great opportunity to finish strong and to learn along the way, talk to other people who are doing it really, really well. Peers, like you guys or people who are older than us as we get into interviewing different people over the next series of things we do here. So like that was a big motivation for me for sure.
I heard I think it was a marriage conference or something that I was leading worship at, and a good friend of mine was teaching, and she said, you can't change your history, but you can change your legacy. And
that's good.
Of course, as Matt mentioned, we've had blessed to have incredible parents and great family. And of course, we brought up in a God-centered family. But somebody's watching this or listening to this, and, all three of us would be the first to tell you, as Matt referred to, there are things we're not proud of. There's things we would love to have done differently. And we've been all in our own way, been very transparent about all those things. But I think you realize I can't change my history. I can't change the past, but I can definitely change the legacy that I'm going to leave. And that is a big motivator to, because, I'm not rich. I don't have millions of dollars in the bank and all that, but I can leave my kids a work ethic. I can leave my kids, obviously, a love of God. I can leave my kids a heart of worship. I can leave at least set the pace and set the standard. And I've even heard that, even my kids talking, when they talk about me and Angela to other people, whether usually we're not around when they brag on us or whatever, but to hear other people tell us what our kids think of us and love us and actually enjoy and want to be with us and want to be around us. And, that makes that legacy that's being left, at least I feel like it's headed in the right direction. I can always work harder at it, but can't change a history, change a legacy.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good word. So, what do you guys think is the best part about getting older? I know that we talk about it a lot, and I think I could say a lot of things, but from a spiritual standpoint, especially just a life, pursuing God and trying to live my life for Him. And we were telling some of the college kids that we get to work with last night, like, it's the experience of knowing like He never has failed, not one time. He is undefeated. Nothing has ever, nothing you do is going to break that, or and people get so discouraged sometimes when they do things wrong, or they get stuck in a bad situation, or hard things happen. And just the peace of knowing, it doesn't make it any easier. It's still hard to go through stuff, but just knowing like He has never, ever failed me. Just the wisdom that comes from that, the peace that comes from that, the security, from being a believer and having that experience, that, I would say that's the probably the one thing I would never trade, is knowing that confidence of knowing He's never, ever going to fail. How about y'all?
I would say the best part about getting older is learning what really matters. Because there's a lot of stuff I just don't care for. I mean, it just doesn't affect me. Just because it's just not important to me. Some of that can be, from either what people think, or, comments, or social media engagement, or whatnot. I mean, when you were younger, and younger is very relative, because Facebook came out when we were in our late 30s, early 40s, or at least when it became popular. And, you'd get obsessed about dumb stuff, and the things that were important, even in my 20s, even before Google or Facebook was even around. Things that were important then are just not important, and you learn the value of why they're not important anymore. And so that, I think that part to me is just, there's just stuff I just don't really give a rip about anymore, just because I just know in the end it's not that important, and it really frees me up to focus on what is ultimately, most important in my life, my family, Renee, the kids. And honestly, nothing else really matters. And I know we're kind of in a political season, and I really kind of started learning this really in 2016 when Trump first ran. It was Hillary Trump, and everybody was like, oh my gosh, the world's going to end, depending on who you were voting for. And it kind of hit me. It's like, you know what, in the end, regardless of who's in the White House, like, my obligation to love my wife and love my family and help my neighbor, like, none of that changes. And so what used to be, and I used to be like super into politics, and I still enjoy and engage in it, but it's not nearly as important to me now, just because the value of it has no value to me. I mean, it really has no value to me. It's what's in my immediate that I'm with every day, and that one-to-one, those one-to-one type relationships. That's what ultimately matters. And so I think learning that value has probably been the best thing about getting older.
Yeah.
Yeah, piggybacking on that, I'll give you two examples. One would be playing golf. I used to play a lot before I had kids. I was really good for an average golf, an amateur golfer. And I just wanted to score the best. And, if I hit 80, I was having a bad day. I mean, I could just hit the ball, play. And then, as I got older, I had kids that didn't play as much. I couldn't score as well. And I'd get out there and I would be like, what's wrong with me? I can't. And it's like, you don't play. How can you even get mad about it? You don't ever play, hardly. And it just, there was this switch in my head that went off one day. And it's like, I don't even care what I believe it or not. It might be hard for you guys to believe, knowing that we've always been athletic and competitive and all those things. Like, I just don't give a rip anymore. I just like, it's golf for me. If I get to play and when I get to play, it's just about who I'm with. It's not really, it's has nothing to do with
about the cigars that you bring to the course.
I'll hit a good shot here and there, and it'll be like, yeah, I still got it. And the next shot, I'm like, oh, you ain't got it no more. But
yeah,
it's just about who I'm with. And then kind of the same thing on what Matt was saying, like social media and stuff. I'm not on it all the time, but when I do check it, I'll see something or somebody will make a post and I'll be like, oh, I got an opinion on that. I'm about to blast this person, And then I'm like, I just stop my brain. I'm like, I really don't care. I mean, I might disagree with that person or might see it differently, but in the end, I'm like, nobody cares what you think, And I don't know. It just doesn't. And it's almost an apathy, but in a healthy apathy, if that's a term. I have to ask. I mean, ask a counselor friend if healthy apathy is a term, but it's just it just doesn't matter. And using the wisdom that, as far as getting older, I've got 50 years of wisdom and mistakes, and I handled that situation wrong, or I'm not gonna, that one bit me, and I'm not gonna do that one again. So there's that. With that wisdom, just comes maturity in my faith. Again, going back to our legacy of our parents, and it's the wisdom and the maturity of 50 years of struggling through what do I believe about this or what do I believe about that. And even when people get in the theological argument, I'm like, I will talk about this with you. I'll tell you what I believe, but I'm not going to argue. It's like, one, God is not honored. And two, you and I get nowhere. And three, we just walk away ticked at each other. It's like, what's the point? It's like, well, let's just discuss it in a healthy way. And even when I do have to have a tough conversation with somebody, confrontation, or somebody that works under me and who I work for, or a friend or whatever, I always lead with, hey, you and I got to have a tough conversation, but I promise you, you and I are going to be better friends on the backside of this, or you and I are going to be better coworkers on the backside of this, because we're going to learn what works and what doesn't work. And I think just that wisdom of learning from those really mistakes in our past is a great thing about getting older. Empty nesting, or we call ourselves open nesting because we still have one hovering around a little bit, is another great, like Angela and I just having, I was super blessed to marry an incredible lady, but we love to have fun. We're still kind of kids at heart. And so it's like, let's go do something fun, and we enjoy being together. And then, like I said earlier, our kids actually enjoy being around us. So, when they had, again, my newly married son had us over for dinner last week. Super weird. That's never happened before. I went to his house, for supper. And,
I can tell you right now, that wasn't his idea. It was his wife's.
Probably so. But just, that open nest, empty nest thing that we're getting to kind of be us again. And it's just super cool to look back at all that we've got to experience together in marriage with our kids, see them grow. They're adults now, and see them, what they call it, flying the nest, leaving the nest, whatever that's called, and flying on their own. And I've told them, I've said it at my son's rehearsal dinner. It's like, I always wanted my ceiling to be their floor, and to see them, as much as I've accomplished or little as I've accomplished, whatever that has been, status or notoriety, whatever, I want my ceiling to be where they launch from and do even greater things. And I think that's probably one of my favorite things about getting older, is seeing my kids carry on, love God, live out the mission that they've been called to do. And Angela and I talk about it all the time. We just can't believe it, but love it all at the same time.
Well, I thought we would have a little fun with, I put together a little list of things that I know Jen and I talk about it a lot, about just things you see people doing and you realize, man, if that activity, that habit, that thing they're saying, whatever, it makes them seem so much older. And in an effort to keep a young mindset, in an effort to stay relevant, to stay healthy in all the ways, these are just things that we talk about all the time. I thought I would just go through this list. Thought it'd be kind of funny. So I got 8 things, top 8. So we'll be like the old David Letterman. And old references is one of the things we probably shouldn't do. People are like,
who's David Letterman?
The Santa Claus.
I was going to say,
guy?
do you want me to do a drum roll?
Yeah.
No. But number 8
Paul.
is, and this is mainly for men. I don't know if women do this as much, but for men, it's walking around with your mouth open. You know, that thing that we were at a cross country meet with Rivers the other day, and one of the volunteers who was running the meet he was like a starter. He was out on the field where all the kids were going to run, and I don't know how old he was, but he, just looking at him, I'm guessing he was like well into his 60s or maybe 70s, and he was a little overweight, but not terribly, but just had that old man thing. He's kind of hunched over, not in a like he had a back problem, just like his posture was just terrible, and his mouth was just hanging open all the time, and I couldn't stop looking at it. I told Jen that was staying next to me. I said, if you ever see me doing that, just punch me in the face. I do not want to be that guy. I see
the question is, are you
time.
so old? Are you so old that you just don't care? Or are you like you don't even know it, or your mouth is so tired, 60 years of talking or whatever you've done, it just won't say,
Right.
it just won't stay close to you.
I don't know. I don't really know what causes it, but Dad used to do that. I don't know if y'all remember that.
Yeah.
But Dad was bad about
when
that.
you said that, I always thought about Dad would do that.
And yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they're just tired or if they can't breathe through their nose anymore, And again, you don't really see women doing it that I can think of. It's usually older men. I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Maybe we should Google it and see what the cause is, but it's like that slack jaw
Dr.
thing. I was
Google.
like, just if you ever see me doing that, just slap me right.
Punch me in the
I
face.
don't want to be that guy.
Punch me in the face or put me down.
Yeah.
Here's your voice.
Yeah, shoot me. Okay, number 7. Number 7 is, and by the way, a lot of these are things I've noticed when we're like out with friends who are similar in age.
Yeah.
And but when people criticize younger people's choices or criticize their tastes, like they clearly don't understand why you would like that music or why you would choose that or why you would do that. And I just don't think, it just makes you look so out of touch, even if you're right, or even if you think you're right. But like the way older people sometimes try to tell younger people, like, you're wrong, you shouldn't do that. I don't mean like giving them wisdom. I mean like taste or, that kind of thing. And I just think nothing makes you look like an old fogey. Say that again.
Yeah.
It's just preference
Yeah.
or opinion, it's right or wrong.
Yeah. Just giving them a hard time. Or dismissing their choices because you just don't get it. I think it makes you look old.
And let's be honest.
But when it comes to music, has it really changed that much? I understand the style between 80s and now, which by the way was over 40 years ago.
And was awesome.
Yeah, and totally awesome. But honestly, us now as older, I try to think of us now as, Dad's age, and his music, and he was more of the honky tonk country kind of, that was kind of his vibe. But music today, the shift between the 50s and the 80s doesn't quite seem to be as drastic, or seems more drastic than, from the 80s to today.
Well,
Is that a fair
that's right.
statement?
music is headed back. A lot of what my kids listen
Yeah.
to, dude, that's straight up 80s keyboards right there, or drum loop.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's definitely a cycle there for sure.
Yeah.
But I was going to say, let's be honest. We had the hair that our parents didn't like. We listened to music our parents didn't like.
Mullets are back, man. Mullets
They
are
are back.
making a comeback.
We all had an earring that our dad absolutely hated. You know,
He
so,
said I was the daughter he never had. So
and I will say this.
Yeah, that's what Mom said to me. I'll never forget when I came in with that. I had an earring. It was on a Sunday morning because they always say when you get married and move out of the house, which I had done. And we came over for Sunday lunch after church, and I had avoided them all morning at church. I remember that. I didn't want to get into it at church. And Mom was standing at the stove. I'll never forget it. It's a burn in my memory. And I walked up to her for the first time, and somebody must have told her because she didn't even look at me. And she was like, "Hello, daughter." And of course, I quickly reminded her, "You said when I was married out of the house." So, but anyway, yeah.
I will say
that's a good example.
Here's my old man rant. The one thing I don't understand, and I have tattoos. I'm not against tattoos. I can't understand the neck and the face tattoos are on your hands when you can't cover them. You know, you have locked in your career path when you've done that. You know what I'm saying? Like, or your career path.
And I agree with that. But to be fair, you wouldn't tell that person, like you wouldn't criticize them. You wouldn't.
No. Well,
yeah, that's what I think
my
makes people
kids,
seem old. Is
I told my kids, do not do this. Do not get it above the collar line. Do not get it on your hands. Don't get any tattoo you can't cover.
Yeah. Unless you're like David Beckham, who's covered in them, but then wears like a $4,000 suit. Okay.
and worth hundreds of millions of dollars.
I was going to say he had hundreds of millions of dollars before he did most of them. So,
that's what I mean. Like you can get away with it.
That's fine. Hey, you got that kind of money in the bank and you're set for life. It doesn't matter.
Right.
Although I think in today's world, it's a lot different. I think that that threshold, yes, 30 years ago, that would be the case. But honestly, I mean, I see people with tattoos all the time on their hands or on their neck, even in just regular business. I think it's just a much more accepted practice now. I don't think it's quite the stigma. There might be some things that would hold you back, but I get your old man point, Pawpaw, MJ. But I think the times have changed a little bit.
Yeah, probably a good job of demonstrating what not to do.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I said.
Exhibit A.
I wouldn't tell the person. I'm just saying that's
right.
And that's how the whole thing is. How do you know you're getting old? Because I think these things. That's why.
Yeah. Okay, number 6. I think really poor health and fitness makes people look older faster and separates them from.
Oh, no doubt.
No question about it. And I'll first to say that's something I'm working at. I got to get better at it. I think number 5. I think when people talk about the good old days.
I know, but the good old days now is like 80s, and that just didn't seem like that far away.
But have you seen those
in
things
the 80s
on Instagram that talks about how from 1980 to now, I'm not doing this math as I talk, so I might get the reference wrong, but the gist of it's right. Like from 80 to now is further than like 80 to like 1941 or
1936 to be exact.
And when you look at it that way, it's like, holy cow.
Isn't that crazy?
Or do y'all do the thing where when people give a date, I always think like, I forget to add the 20 years after 2000 or now 24 years. Like the 80s, that was like 20 something years ago. And then you're like, no, I got to add the post 2000 number. I do that all the time. Just like a default. All right. Number 4, is the being out of touch with music and culture, which we've already kind of hit on a little bit, but
man, Van Halen, I'm just locked in on Van Halen and Def Leppard,
right.
1980s. Like,
my kid, I listen to a lot of that still, but my kids keep me halfway up on current music. And I won't say current because I watched the American Music Awards the other night. Half the people, I'm like, who is that? It's one thing to go listen to a person, but it's not, I've never even heard of that.
Yeah, I was telling Matt that earlier before we got on the call. That happens all the time. Like you'll hear like the commercial for those award shows or whatever and who's going to be featured. And it's like, okay. And I said the same thing when my kids were in high school and college and still around us a lot. I I feel like I kept up really, really well just through them and listened to a lot of it. Like I liked a lot of it, but there was, and I thought I always kind of took pride in how hip I was. And then it's like, at some point it just went away.
Yeah.
I don't know why. And then kind of on a similar note, number 3 is technology. Older people and technology.
Yeah. I mean, there's that gap between our generation and our parents' generation for sure. But I think this generation has done a better job of, keeping up with the technology, especially when it comes to phones or especially now AI. I mean, like my entire work is around AI and how it helps. And
I'm not so sure that people who don't have to do it at work though. I think it scares a lot of older people, even people our age.
True. That's true. Yeah.
Not scare might be a strong word, but like intimidates them.
Yeah.
Why would I need that, or how would I use it, or yeah.
Kind of goes back to one of the better things of getting older is talk about important things like my phone. Like going on vacation or something, like I love to go somewhere remote, like where the cell service doesn't work. Like I'm super happy about that. Just the more unplugged I can get, the better.
That's a sign of getting older.
I know.
Yeah.
I embrace that part.
Yeah. Number 2, and I didn't write this out super. It's not the best worded way, but non-age appropriate dress. And I think there's a couple things in there. I think there's the trying too hard. Trying to wear clothes you really shouldn't be wearing at your age.
Oh, at our age, yeah. Yeah.
And then the other thing is holding on to old trends. Like you went so far and then you just got stuck,
Yep.
Like the people who,
along with number 2.
These are number 2. I'm just saying these are subcategories of the age appropriate or not age appropriate dress. Out of date hair is another one. Probably more for women on that front to some degree, men to I guess some, but having an out of date hairstyle or
the fact that I have, like, who cares what it looks like? It's up there. It's less than it used to be.
Every time
I cut it, at least I have some.
Yeah. When Renee cuts my hair, I was like, just give me the check. Give me the little pat, whole check up there.
What I always notice is when I go into Publix, the grocery store, and they've got that security camera in the lobby, like where the carts are, and it's from the back, but the screen is up in front of you.
That's true. You can always do a little check there.
I'll be like, what is happening? I feel hair.
I was doing sound check on a Sunday morning. And of course, we had that at our church. We had the IMAX screens where they have the band or whatever up on the screen. Well, during sound check, I'm looking back at the musicians and, hey, different note there, hit that, emphasis that, whatever, emphasize that. And I'm looking back at the band and I look up at the screen and I thought, who is the bald guy on stage? Because I had my hair was buzzed at the time, so it was super cut was thin. And I was like, who is that? And I'm like, oh no, that's me. That guy's wearing my shirt.
Yeah.
Just like a little thin right back here.
Yeah.
I will say, I think of the brothers I've held on to the most hair, which I'm going to hold on to that trophy.
No
You're
doubt.
also the greatest. You are the greatest. I mean,
that's for sure.
You are the greatest.
Oh my gosh. When I grow my beard out, it's like all white. It is all white.
Yeah.
No doubt.
My beard is obviously.
I'll take the gray. I'll take the gray.
I think it stands out more on you though, because your hair was darker. I think,
true.
I think it looks more gray partly because of that. Okay. Then the number 1 drum roll, and we were totally doing this earlier, but I think the number 1 issue is when people sit around talking about their aches and pains and illnesses and medicines, hospital visits.
When your conversation is dominated by when your doctor's appointments are, then you've reached that age.
And man, we have some friends that it's all you can do to get them to talk about anything else. And these aren't like, they're actually not, I don't think of these people as old people. They're not terribly unhealthy. They look good. They've taken care of themselves. They dress well. They're in good shape. They've got incredible careers and they have all this going for them, but you go to dinner with them and they'll sit there and talk about every little procedure, every little surgery they had. They want to show you the thing on their back with that's the take. And you're like, y'all, come on, like,
Good.
who are we? Like, we don't, and like we did earlier, like there's nothing wrong with sharing, like, this is something I'm dealing with or I'm processing, but it shouldn't be
Put this on your prayer list.
Yeah. I mean,
That's spiritual,
I think
spiritual way, just wanting to talk about
Gossiping.
No, spiritual way of wanting to talk about grace. If you guys can pray for me,
Yeah.
there's this list of all these body aches that have.
Yeah. And, safe space, and you tell, there's certain people you need to tell stuff to. And that's all. I mean, I'm not saying you shouldn't don't pretend like you don't have an issue, but yeah, when you go, especially socially at a party or at dinner or whatever, and that's all they want to talk about. It's like, is there anything else going on in your life besides this thing on your back that you want to, like, it's just,
yeah.
But I just don't think anything makes you seem older faster than sitting
Talking about
around
your
having
ailments.
those conversations. And especially if you're in front of younger people. And again, we're not trying to impress anybody. Like, it's not that, but it's just, if you want to distance yourself from them and make it harder to connect and harder to be a good mentor to them, and,
For sure.
that'll do it in a heartbeat. So it's like, that's kind of a pet peeve for me too. I'm like, please stop talking about it. Y'all, this has been super fun. Appreciate the time.
Yeah, man.
We'll have to do it again and get a catch up on our aches and pains. No, I'm just kidding.
Talk about our ailments.
Yeah. But anyway, appreciate you guys. Love you. And we'll catch up soon.
All right. Love you, fellas.
Well, hope you enjoyed that as much as we did. We had a great time talking and chatting and kind of sharing with our each other about our different parts of the aging journey, and definitely some entertainment there. And I hope that you just feel like you got to know me as your host just a little bit more in my heart and kind of where we're coming from. So thank you for being here today. Next episode, number 3, is exciting. It's with a good friend of mine named Gina Cox. Gina is an attorney. She is a theologian, has her master's degree in theology. She is an incredible teacher. We had the privilege of serving together at Highlands College here in Birmingham for several years as she helped us kind of go through our accreditation process, and I was working with our adult learners, and she became a very dear friend to me and to my wife. And I'm so excited for you to learn from her. She came to this podcast, this next episode, incredibly prepared, researched. She's just that kind of person and brought some brilliant insight. So be sure to tune in to episode number 3. It's already been dropped because we dropped 5 at once. So make sure you enjoy that and let us know what you think about it. Remember, you can follow us on YouTube and watch these in video form. You can listen to them obviously on Spotify or Apple Podcast. And we're just so glad that you're here. Please give us feedback. Join us at ageoflions.com. Get on our list and let us know kind of how you're feeling about things, what you'd like to see us do different, how we can get better. And we'll see you in the next episode.